Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And boy, have I heard a lot of interesting chatter about Ripple and doing an IPO now. Do I rule that out? No, of course not. Do I think the timing is right? No, I don't. Not at all. Not only because the year of 2019 for IPOs was a huge disappointment, but also with the current instability geopolitically, this is really bad timing. And I think that those that are planning to IPO right now are probably very concerned with the timing. And also, when we look at the Q3 and Q4 with the up and coming elections, I think it's really going to slow down. So if the timing were to be primed, you'd need to do it pretty quick. And it looks like with the current global instability, I just don't think the timing is right. Now, do I think possibly that Ripple took the series funding to show a little spotlight on themselves? Yeah, very possible. That's one thing I do agree with out there. There's a lot of things, though, I don't agree with. And I just think that when Brad said it could be something for the future, I think that is not now. And then somebody on Twitter also asked me, well, why would they want to have an exit? Because I said that, of course, IPOs, not only are they done to raise capital, Ripple doesn't need the capital, but they are also a form of an exit strategy. And someone said, well, why would the Ripple team want to exit? Do they not believe in the project? No, of course not. But let me tell you, it ain't the money, it's the money. One of the things that everybody hopes for when you have stock in a company, whether it's you are an investor or you are one of the founding members of a team, you definitely want to have an exit, even if it's into fiat, to be able to turn that illiquid asset, if you will, into a liquid asset. So that is one of the reasons. It doesn't have anything to do with not believing in the project. I think every founder of every company hopes that they can execute on their shares in a way that gives them some sort of monetary value. And the only reason why those investment firms and VCs are putting their money into these projects is to eventually exit. That's just the way it is, everybody. That is just the space that we are in. You can see here that the median 2019 IPO, while it sharply underperformed in relative to history, this graph goes all the way back to 1995. And it was actually the worst performing year for the 1 month relative performance of the IPOs to close from the first day of trading. So if you want to pay attention to how the air is, read the air, as we say in Japan, there is one IPO coming up that was filed with the SEC on December 2nd, and it is a real true fintech IPO. This is Ping An's One Connect. They're aiming to raise 500 million in this IPO. You can find it online as to how many shares are issued and at what price they are expecting to IPO at. This is a company that has 99% of the Chinese banks using their technology, and SBI invested in this and made a strategic move. So I am very interested to see, and I think if you follow something like this to just get a feel for how the marketplace is in terms of it, this is good timing or not, this is one project to follow. Okay, I am going to talk about this utility coin by UBS because Mati Greenspan has ruffled feathers again on Twitter, and you need to know how it is going to impact XRP. So here I am quoting Hyder Jeffrey. He's the head of fintech innovation at UBS, and the UBS coin is a utility settlement coin. It is on a distributed ledger. It helps bank move post-trade cash, and the coin represents cash. It's backed by the dollar, the euro, the yen, etc. And cash, or sometimes called fiat, has inherent risk. So this doesn't change the fact that banks have a risk due to the adverse movements of market rate changes and prices, for example. XRP has none of this risk for banks. It settles in seconds and they can tap into the liquidity without holding that. And you can see here that UBS says they don't say that this coin is a cryptocurrency, they see it as crypto cash, and it is not a new currency. It's a way to represent existing currencies like dollars, pounds, euros, and it's on the distributed ledger. So if cash on the ledger is always, it will always be backed by real cash, then it's going to be held at the central bank, and it's much in the way that cash is technically a promissory note. So this is what it means, and I just can't tell you enough that it doesn't have anything to do with the functionality that XRP, the digital asset, does. So let's just take a look here at the definition of market risk. The potential change in a bank's earnings or values due to the adverse movements of in market rates and prices such as interest rates, foreign exchange rates, equity prices, or commodity prices, and the liquidity. This is a risk, and the inability to sell assets or obtain adequate funding on reasonable terms. Very large players must also be exposed to the inability to unwind or offset exposures without significantly influencing prices. Now, this is an individual coin for an individual ecosystem, but there are going to be times when these banks who are in this closed system will have to unwind and offset into other banks that are not part of their closed walled garden, and so they expose themselves to these fluctuating market prices. The settlement that happens inside these consortium blockchain systems, it is something that is not even close to what XRP is offering. And the coin is a commercial bank money that carries the sovereign risk. So yes, it's a step forward for the banks to use blockchain. I'll give it that. But it is not a viable solution for foreign exchange, for global payments. This coin does not compete with XRP. And in addition to that, in that article, it goes on further to say about the collaboration. So he was asked if the banks have to collaborate. Do they have to work together on a communal currency as you are with USC, or will they be also useful where banks develop their own? Is there a risk of fragmentation if banks issue their own coin? Well, the collaboration for the banks is crucial. And in order to experience the full benefits of moving their business onto the distributed ledger like this, there are a number of banks out there developing their own coin projects, but the benefits are limited unless the banks work together. Okay, so please understand that the banks have to work together in this case. And I just want to go back and show you something here. If the banks do issue their own digital currencies, then there's no need for this coin. That actually came from the head of the FinTech project at UBS. All right, so it is simply naive to believe that suddenly banks are going to put aside geopolitical and competition-based gripes to adopt a single blockchain asset from one or a group of banks. Banks compete with each other for political influence, market share, and are entirely unlikely to turn around and adopt a single blockchain project developed by a competing bank and then fruitfully govern this new marketplace while better positioning a single rival bank or group of banks against themselves. It's just not going to happen, everybody. And when you look at this last few months of UBS headlines, the third quarter profits are slumping big time because their investment banking is down 59% because of the persistent negative interest rates. And those rates are not going to change anytime soon. And here we have in December, UBS must defend itself against a US lawsuit over catastrophic mortgage losses. And the super rich also are going to be affected in this revamp, along with hundreds of bankers losing their jobs as this revamp takes place. I think if you get in bed with fleas, you're going to get bitten. Okay, all right. I'm going to move to something that actually is exciting me. And this is something that I found that's very interesting, but I have to give you a little bit of background here. So the first thing is Mercado Libre. This is the 8th largest online marketplace in the world. And in March, PayPal made a strategic $750 million equity stake in this big giant. Okay, and then you can see also that it was in May 2019 that Ripple announced they had partnered with Ria. And Ria has the second largest money transfer network in the world. Okay, so just keep in mind all these names and all of these events that have happened. So October, Ripple made an investment into Bitso. Bitso is the exchange that's in Mexico. Okay, they are doing the ODL, on-demand liquidity, with XRP for MoneyGram, and Ripple made this additional investment for the expansion into Argentina and Brazil. All right, so I think now you're set up with the information to know that in November, PayPal took its payments app Xoom to target quick payments with Ripple's partner Ria. And then we find out on December 30th that PayPal signs a commercial agreement with Mercado Libre. And let me just tell you, there is not a coincidence here. To accelerate this vision, they are, Dan Schulman, the president and CEO of PayPal, is saying that they have signed a wide-reaching commercial agreement that will meaningfully drive an increase to their international scope and scale. And as a part of the agreement, PayPal will be made available as a payment option in Mercado Pago, the online checkout for people in Brazil and Mexico. Coincidence? I don't think so. And the PayPal merchants around the world, it will allow the 48 million Mercado Pago users in Brazil and Mexico to pay with a method that they love and trust, and it'll expand Xoom's presence into this part of the world, initially into Mexico and Brazil. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Okay, everybody. Yeah, I am taking you to the fluff. This is Subetsu, and it is a place in Hokkaido that is famous. You can get up, what is it, about 1,000 feet above a lake. And because of the way the moisture creates clouds, you just get these amazing sea of clouds opportunity to view. And if you search on Google, you can see the most amazing collection of people who have been at this lookout point over the water. And it's just, there's just so many. I had very hard time to just select one photograph, but this is one that I thought was really beautiful. Now, this place in Hokkaido is quite interesting, and they are really busy right now. They are creating the wooden cases, 5,000 of them, from a special tree that is found up there, and it has a very unique indigo blue wood color and a beautiful, beautiful grain. And I don't know if you know, but 70% of Japan is covered in forest. Yeah, that is a real fact. And it was about 2 years ago that Japan started collecting old gadgets and old cell phones from people, and people were dropping them off at donation boxes all around the city. And yeah, here is an actual copy of some of those phones that they collected. When they extracted out of these old phones. They got 32 kilograms of gold, 3,500 kilograms of silver, and 2,200 kilograms of bronze. And it came from 80,000 tons of cell phones that were discarded, and also other electronic gadgets. Now, what are they doing with this? They're making the medals. Yes, you are going to see the Olympic medals are made out of this recycled throwaway electronic goods. How cool is that? Okay, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.